Most people in the divorce process want to get it over as fast as possible. Don't make the mistake of trying to hurry through this process and not proceeding with an effective strategy for making it through your divorce. So what I mean is, every divorce is different, and everybody in a divorce needs to have a strategy that's going to work for them. If you're in a hurry and you just want to get it over with, the biggest mistake ever is someone who says, let's just enter into a child custody plan now, and then we'll fix it later. We'll renegotiate it. I had a client who did that recently, and she had made a decision about where the children should live, and they were living with their father in one suburb, and she said, well, I'll just move to the other suburb and then I'll get the kids back and then they'll come live with me. So she entered into a divorce agreement that said the kids are going to live with dad and they'd talk about another situation later, but it wasn't very specific. And she was really distraught to find out that because she'd entered divorce paperwork, and in most states that's a pretty final order from the court, and it's not very easy to change final divorce paperwork. So if you think that you're going to enter into some sort of a temporary situation that you're going to fix later, you might be really surprised and really disappointed to learn that it's not that easy to change later. So you need a strategy starting at the beginning about how you're going to make it through your divorce. And you need to go through the process as much as you want to get it over and as much as you want to hurry and get on with your life, or just be done with the stress and the anxiety and the expense, having to deal with lawyers and maybe CPAs and maybe vocational assessments, and it's a really expensive and really stressful and really scary. And some people just say, let's just get it over with, let's just sign something, I don't care, or I can't stand it anymore, just let him have the retirement account, I don't want to argue anymore. Or, okay, fine, I'm not going to take any alimony, I'm just going to my dad's going to help me support myself until I can get back into school. That's not a good divorce strategy. A good divorce strategy is coming up with a system and how you're going to process your way through this, and step by step what you need to do to get the best financial settlement for yourself and protect your children's lives for the future, and to make sure that they get a good custody arrangement that supports them and gives them an opportunity to spend time with both parents. And so it's really, really hard when you're in a situation where you kind of want to do what you think is best, but you're not looking at it from your children's perspective. So you need a really effective divorce strategy. Don't make the mistake of sort of stumbling through just doing what seems to be next on the plate and then ending up with a settlement that you think you're going to change later, because it ain't that easy to change a settlement once it's been entered with the court. So be sure to come up with a really effective strategy to process your divorce, and don't make the mistake of hurrying through and not thinking about your future. Okay, here's the biggest mistake you can make in your divorce with regard to your children, and that is involving your children in any way whatsoever in this divorce process. If you end up in a trial or in a mediation and you appear to have gotten your children involved in the divorce situation, or if you're being evaluated by a parenting evaluator or a case manager or a guardian ad litem or whatever they call it in your particular jurisdiction, you do not want your children to be telling that person that mommy says that daddy abandoned us, or mommy says that daddy has a girlfriend, anything like that. And most importantly, it's bad for your kids. You do not want your children to be in a situation where they have to make a decision between mom and dad whose house they want to go to. That's a really unfair position to put kids in. And here's the truth of the matter. People come to me all the time and say, yeah, but little Jessica didn't want to go to her dad's house. She was crying when she had to go. But guess what? Little Jessica cries when she leaves daddy's house, because little Jessica is 4. And little Jessica is sort of living in the now, and she's happy wherever she is, usually. But what your job is to normalize it for your child, not to fan the flame and say, oh, I know it's going to be really hard over there sleeping at daddy's house. Your job is to say, you know what, you're going to have a great time with daddy, he can't wait to see you. You want your child to feel really loved by both parents. Now, I'm certainly not a psychologist, I'm a lawyer, but I deal with families going through this transition all the time. And it's a huge mistake to put your child in the middle in your divorce and having your child bringing messages back and forth between parents, or putting your child in the position of saying, well, where do you want to sleep tonight? At mom's house or at dad's house? That shouldn't be a decision that your child should be making. Parents need to make that decision, and if the parents can't make that decision, an evaluator of some sort is going to make the decision and make a recommendation to a judge, and a judge is going to make a decision. And it's way better for your children if you and your soon-to-be ex-husband can try to make the decision about what's best for your child than it is to go into a judge who doesn't even know you, is going to listen to testimony for 1 to 4 to 5, maybe 7 or 8 days of testimony, and then they're going to be the one to make a decision of what's best for your children. So it's a huge mistake to put your children in the position of having to weigh in on those decisions. So don't make the mistake of putting your children in the middle of your divorce. It's really bad for your kids, and it reflects really poorly on you if you end up in litigation or in court at some point that you've made the mistake of putting your children in the middle of the divorce process. One mistake that I see really commonly as a divorce lawyer is someone who comes in and says what their friends tell them they should do, or what their mom says they should do, or what their dads say they should do. It's not completely uncommon for me to get a phone call from one of my clients' fathers. Say I represent a woman who's in her 30s and her dad calls me up and said, "You gotta get that son of a gun. You gotta make sure he pays the price for what he did to my daughter. Don't let him get away with anything." Is that best for this family? I don't know, probably not. But I'm pretty sure that the woman is the one who should be making the decision, not her father, and not her mother, and not her best friend or her sister or brother. So don't make the mistake of letting your friends and family sort of take over your divorce and come to the lawyer meetings with you and tell your lawyer what they think is best for you and your family. It's always really helpful for a lawyer to hear from family members so that the lawyer has a really good picture of what's going on in the family, you know, who has what parenting skills, and it's always good for dad to weigh in and say what he thinks is good for the finances or what's good for the children, but not to be the one to make the decision, and not for the woman to give her power over to a friend or family member. So use your friends and family as your advisors if you need to, and have them talk to your lawyer if you think that would be useful to help get a good picture of what your family's like and what your financial situation is. But they're all advisors. And as part of your divorce process, I always tell my clients to get themselves what I call their divorce team in order. And a divorce team is people in your life who see you in a way that's somehow bigger than you see yourself in a given situation. So what that kind of means is we all have friends who have a big picture of us and who aren't going to get in the nitty-gritty and say, well, you should get back at him and you shouldn't let him get away with that and he should pay the price. There's those type of people, and they're great, and they're the best ones to go out and really get down in the nitty-gritty and complain with. Then we all have friends who are like, you know what, is that really the best thing for your kids? Or, are you sure you want to do that? Is that how you want to really handle yourself in this? Is that really true with who you are? I think that it's always a good idea to have a divorce team, which are those people, which was that friend who can say, I'm not sure that's how you want to handle this situation. But don't let the friends and family members who, you know, our mom is going to be mad at our ex for what he did to you. I mean, that's just the way that parents and family members are. So have those people sort of as your people that you can go complain to and kind of let it all hang out. But when it comes to making a decision, find those people in your life who can help you sort of hold yourself really high and make a really good, high integrity decision that's true to your heart and true to the person that you know that you really are, outside of this crazy, wild transition that's so emotionally upsetting. So don't make the mistake of letting your friends and family members who are mad at your ex jump in and try to make decisions for you. This is your divorce. You need to make the decisions, and you need to find the very best people to surround yourself with who can support you in making some really good, well-founded decisions in your divorce.